This is Amelía Eon Karis.
This is Satya, and you're listening to
Love,
Sex,
and the Hidden Agenda. Our podcast was created with the sole intention to release toxic shame, illuminate our shadow nature, and expose the mysterious entities that feed off our most precious life force, our sexual energy. To learn more about our life-enhancing courses and transformational retreats, visit knowtheself.com. Let's dive in.
So that was such a juicy episode, our last episode, and I didn't want to stop. And I know there were still things that we wanted to talk about. So I'm still reeling and fascinated just at that conversation that we had, and how you were talking about what you were learning from your departed father, and I think it blows my mind because it is. But I wish I could learn about, well, I probably could, but to learn about things in that way, experientially, where you're just kind of asking and getting the answers, and then you look and see religions that have it written in their books and their rules and handed down from their teachers that is the same thing you're saying through, and these are, so what you were saying about, the different, how your father, you were understanding that there are different levels that people are at when they're dead. And I don't know if that'd be called like different levels of heaven or just different vibrations that we can hang out at. That is all fascinating to me because I wonder, why sometimes I might, like, where did my grandma go when she, shot out, told me all that stuff? She was out. She was not, I don't think she was going to be hanging around. She's like, I'm done and this feels way too good. So I'm off. I promised you I'd connect with you. Here's your messages. Talk to you later.
And I know we always wonder, like, where do they go? And I keep asking. And
then like that Ken, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that Ken's mom was still here to comfort me and guide me through things that directly had to do with our relationship, and then she just, and it was near her anniversary. And I kept feeling her. And then suddenly she's not there. And I'm like, okay, is that me not tapping into her? But was I even tapping into her, or does it just happen naturally? Or is her mission done now that he and I are together and everything is complete, and
it could be, yeah,
we're living together and we're, and everything. And now she's able to be free. And then this whole idea also of just unfinished business, or something that a departed loved one or other departed souls need. Like, actually, Ken and I were in the woods. I have a picture. There was this throne in the woods, and I could see a soul in this little part of the tree, and there was no mistaking it. It was a tortured, trapped soul. I mean, it was, even Ken looked at it and was, and I felt compelled to do a ritual right then and just pray for this soul. And it was something that just, I felt was just natural. It didn't feel strange but so.
No, I love that you said that, because there are so many places and weird things that I've discovered as well through the death process, and where souls go, because we don't all go to the same place. Like, that's very clear to me, because I never read about it. It just kept happening to me, and I just kept asking questions, and it was like a science experiment. I was just playing with all this information I was getting. And then what would happen after I got information is the confirmation and feedback that I would receive from it that validated it for me. So I don't know if, there's any like go-to source that's the one truth of it, but what is really cool, like what you said, is that you have these experiences and then you find like some ancient text somewhere that says the same thing. And it really confirms, like, wow, I really did have that experience. And those confirmations are golden. Like, I love them. And I'm grateful that I've had so many confirmations. But honestly, still, there's some part of me that's all like, did I really? Like, is that really true?
There's always that part. I know. And there's always that part that I feel like, oh, I need to I can't tell everyone this, or
No, that for sure. It's so fascinating. I have done, I don't know, over 100 trance channeling for departed loved ones. I've never charged. I've never put it on my shingle like I do trance mediumship for deceased loved ones. Never, because to me it's like such a sacred thing, and it's so weird every time it happens. Like often it just happens to me. One French girl, I met her in India at some jungle lodge, deep in the jungle, like really deep in the jungle. And I was doing a trance mediumship for another girl who was there, who had recently lost her mother. And she was in all this, I guess her mom committed suicide. And so she was really, obviously grieving and trauma about it. And somehow at a dinner conversation, my partner told them, oh, she can talk to the dead. And so I was doing a session for that woman, and it was very comforting for her. And she was so grateful and thankful. And so that was nice. But then the French woman would not leave me alone. She's like, my dad died. I'm like, yeah, I get it. People die, like I'm not the ghost whisperer. Like, I don't want to do this for a living. But then she came to my city. She found out I lived in Mysore, and she called me up and she's like, please, would you please try to connect to my dad? And I said, look, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. Like, I don't know if I can just dial the number of your father. And so I kept kind of saying no to her. And then that night, as I went to sleep, this small man, super clear as day, came to me like in a white space, but he was so disfigured and he had very specific features. Like he had this scar that was like, it almost looked like the shape of Africa over his eye. And he was very small and he was bald with just a little bit of hair here. So it was just such a character that I was like, what is that? Are you her dad? Like, who are you? Why are you here? And he just wouldn't talk to me. He was just like pacing around in my psychic space, and it was waking me up. And so in the morning I called her and I said, hey, okay, I saw this man, he looks like this. And she just said, I need to come to you. She starts crying. I need to come to you. Yes, he had a scar on his face, a birthmark like that on his face. So I was like, oh, okay. So I sat with her and I said, okay, let's try. And it was weird. The guy was trapped under the stairs in her family house. And so everything just sounded crazy to me, honestly. Like it just sounded, it feels weird even sharing. It's like, okay, why is he trapped under the stairs? And why is he acting so small? And why is he cowering and hiding? And why won't he communicate to me? Why is he scared of me? And then the whole story unfolded somehow magically, like things just unfurl in my mind somehow. And I just know. And I was like, oh, he doesn't realize he's dead. And so then I started communicating with him, and he did know he's dead, but he just didn't know where to go. And he wanted to stay close to the family. And what I found out from the woman was that her family was like tortured by the loss of this guy. Like they didn't know what to do. Everyone in the house was depressed. Everyone was crying all the time. The reason she was in India was to just get out of there because she was so disturbed since this death. Like everyone in the house was deeply, deeply disturbed and unable to function. So I was like, I don't know how to send this soul. Like, I'm not really sure what to do. But, somebody had gifted me the Tibetan Book of the Dead because they heard some other story of mine of how I was clearing souls. And they asked me if I had read the book, and it was a gift. I had never even opened it. It was a brand new book, never even bent a page. And it was sitting on my nightstand. And I said, you know what? I think there's some information in there that can help this soul, but I don't want to read it. Honestly, it's like really hard to read. I opened it and I was like, I can't even make out the words in this kind of trance state I'm in. So I just put my hand on the book and I said, if there's anything in this book that can help this soul, may it be so. And then this is the unbelievable part. I saw a golden airplane, like a 747 size, but it was made of gold with windows, like a 747, but the front of it was like an eagle faced. And it was huge, and it just shot down out of the heavens. It like swooped down through my house and somehow picked him up. I mean, it was all dimensionally strange. So I don't know, it was kind of happening in this etheric realm, but it like swooped in, picked him up, and then shot up like a rocket to the moon. And I was trying to describe what I was seeing to her, but she was just like in ecstatic bliss, crying as it was happening. And I couldn't really explain to her, but then I go into the same thing. And
Oh, wow.
full on ecstatic Kundalini thing. And afterwards, I mean, we were just speechless for a very long time. And she just kept saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I was like, how do you even know what I did? And she's like, he's gone, he's left. Like, I feel it. And then she has stayed in contact with me. I mean, this is like 15 years ago. And she still writes me from time to time. And she told me when she went home, like everyone in the family's back to normal, like things are free. But one thing I noticed when people die, family members die, well, whoever dies, it creates a tear in the fabric of our horizontal connections. So I started to see that we're all connected, kind of like on a spider web, horizontally, with our bloodline. So it doesn't even matter if you're adopted and you don't know your birth parents, you're still on the same web as them. So when something happens to any of your ancestors, especially the closest ones, like parents and children or siblings, that's like you're close to the center of you, it shakes, the whole web shakes, and it creates a disturbance in your field. And I started seeing this because more and more people, I mean, it's been like, over 100 people I've done this for now. And I always see that when we restitch that thread, like create a new connection, it stabilizes the family unit, and like people are able to kind of go back to life, somewhat normalcy of their life, or the grief is not so like a gaping hole of loss in their life. And it's been fascinating. Even in births, I've noticed someone being added to that thread also creates a wobble. So both birth and death, the network, like the fabric of our tapestry, has to be reassessed or like reconditioned or kind of like taken care of.
Well, yeah, that makes so much sense. I'm sure like anyone hearing this is already thinking of all the ways that it makes sense to them, and even for me, I mean, I lost a child who I had a connection with, the baby spirit, and I knew it was a boy. And still I feel this missing of this boy. And now we're talking about, possibly adopting a boy. And even in that way, there's a need to restructure, right? Like that need doesn't go. And yet that boy needed to go to and he did. He went to a place where it was, that's another story, but my head is spinning right now because there's so much to all of this, and I'm
and I think that's where sorry, tell me.
Oh gosh, but you're gonna have to hold your thought, because I have like a little story, because I'm now kind of freaking out that we're talking about this today, because okay, this is going to be really strange. But speaking of trapped souls, okay, in the place I park my car, there is a brick wall in front of me. And last night we were parking and Ken says to me, "Oh my God, look at that woman in the wall." And I was like, oh my God, it's literally like a woman like flying like toward us. And she almost has like a body or maybe like a mermaid tail, but her face. And I was like, wow, oh my gosh, yeah, I see it. And so at first we were just kind of like, oh, and then I said, oh my gosh, wait, do you remember a year ago, I saw a body in this, and I know I took a picture of it. Maybe I think maybe I was Marco Poloing, my cousin, my sister, I can't. So I began to obsess, and I scrolled back through all my pictures, and I found, thank God I took a picture of that same wall, and I showed it to him, and he said, oh yeah, you sent that to me. No, I remember that. And now that you show it to me, but it was a body, and it was actually, if I showed you, it was like half woman, literally breasts and a bum, but half man on the other side. And I don't know how the two mix, but what are the chances, like right in front, right in this very spot? So, I mean, now that we're talking about this,
the chances are, I mean, yeah, I feel that when we are aware of these things or become aware, what happened to me is like, they told me, the people on the other side told me, you're air traffic control. Like, we need your help down here because you see us. Cause I was like, why are all the spirits coming to me? Like, why this dead guy? I mean, I have a lot of stories of weird experiences when I've talked to the dead, and I don't understand it. And I ask all the time, why me? Why do I get to see you? Like, I don't know if I'm okay with this. I don't even, I don't feel good about being the messenger. Like, it puts me in an awkward situation, and people are always crying when I'm talking about it, or when I make contact. The more and more the people, they're crying and saying like, that's what he used to say, or that's him, or, there's something that they tell me that I could never have made up that gives the confirmation. But what I realized is that when we see it, it becomes kind of our job. Not that it's like this heavy responsibility, because I went through that too, where I was like, Jesus, I have to deal with the dead all the time and clear all these trap souls. No, right. But when I learned how to do it and I see it, I'm able to assist. And it actually feels really good when I assist in the way when I'm called. Like, so I'm imagining that you and Ken have something about the combination of your souls, that you're seeing these things together.
Oh my God, I didn't even put that together. I did not even make that connection until you just said that. But the 2 times I've seen a trapped soul has been with him, or the connection is with him. Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, well, that was the first thing I thought of was, oh, interesting. You guys maybe have a past life where you trapped souls in the walls, or because a lot of ancient shamans did that. I mean, that was a thing. Like, people put curses on each other and trapped, like, it's not okay to go around and just like unlock trapped souls too, because
oh shit, I wonder what I released in the woods.
Well, well, we don't know, but sometimes like really demonic creatures get trapped in stone or wood, or some souls that were creating havoc. I know I had one student that was seeing trapped souls in rocks, and she was going around unleashing them. And I said, Jesus Christ, stop. Like, those were trapped for a reason. Like, they're in jail. Not all of them. Some of them are elementals. Some of them were witches that other sorcerers trapped. Some of them may be innocent people. I don't know. But like, find out, ask questions. Like, so it's really fascinating, because these days that we're living in, we are waking up to the fact that we are way more than just the human 3D, physical, emotional selves. Like, we exist on other dimensions. We've always existed. We will always exist after this life. So when you see yourself as a soul and not just as, the personality and person you are today, and you start seeing like, oh, I've existed for millennia, and there's stories that my soul carries, and then you start to realize that you're here for a reason, and there's something you're here to do. Like, the world becomes very fascinating. I mean, especially forests and elementals and all the entities that the deceased ones, because we all play this karmic dance together forever. forever and ever. Like we have these incarnations, and it just gets mind-boggling and fascinating. So yeah, just start talking to see if you can find out. I mean, there's so many tools, you know, people use SRT or pendulums to ask questions, to if you need like specific answers, or just meditate and ask and see what you get, or journal about it and see what you get. But okay, for those listening, because we do have to go.
Yeah, we have to wrap up.
For those listening, we have a couple of resources that you can use. And we're going to have to continue this conversation, obviously, because there's just so much to say on this, and we're just kind of scratching the surface here. But if you want to connect to a loved one and see how you can honor them, I have a guidebook. It'll be in the show notes, so you can go grab that. And last year, Satya and I did a guided meditation for people to clear karmic debt, or to connect with their ancestors, both their physical ancestors from their human lineage, but also their spiritual lineage. And you can find that in the bonus tracks of this podcast. So go check those out, and we hope to have you with us in the next episode. Take care. Thank you, Satya.
See you soon.
To learn more about our life-enhancing courses and transformational retreats, visit knowtheself.com.